Hi everyone. Welcome to the Sheepishly Knitting podcast. I think this is the episode number 5, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a long time again. But I filmed the winter plans video in between my last between the last podcast episode. So yeah. I think this is episode number 5, and I think the last one I filmed like around mid to end October. So it's been a few months. But I actually didn't get too much done for the time because in November we were on a trip for 3 weeks, and then Christmas came, so I only finished up like a few lingering whips or some gift knits. Actually, I just finished one gift knit. The other ones were already finished. And yeah, that's about it. I will share first I will share what I'm wearing. This is actually my very first knit garment. This is the Lucy blouse by sorry for the cut. I just brought my iPad to look up specific details, but this is the Lucy blouse by Louisa Rehkopf. This is, or I think it's Knitting Deer on Instagram. This is my very first finished garment, as I said. I knit it in Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk in the color Denim Blue. And yeah, I knit it off gauge. So originally this calls for 3 strands of mohair, I think on a 4mm needle. And I knit this, as I said, in Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. And also I held it single, so just 1 strand. I think I knit it on 4.5mm needles. Because at the time, I was very inexperienced. But I think due to this, it turned out quite oversized. And actually, I prefer it this way. I got a ton of wear out of it the first time around, but I think the Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk wears out quite quickly, so I think it doesn't look the freshest anymore. So I banned this to be my at home pullover for the time. But like, because it was my first garment, I didn't know how to do like stretchy bind offs, and I just bound off in like regularly. And now I know I also bind off very tightly always. So when I bind off now, I always go up at least one like a needle size, a whole size to bind off. But maybe you can see that it's very tight at the ribbing. So yeah, because of that, I actually ripped I don't know if you'll be able to see, I actually ripped the bind off on the body when I was wearing it at home. So yeah, barely wear it because of that, but I think I will fix it up so I can at least wear it at home because it's very comfortable, and I think it's cute to wear at home still. Also, it's special. It's my first knit garment, But yeah, enough for what I'm wearing, I think. Oh, the only thing I'm considering to knit this again, actually. Maybe even again in the Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. It's just so inexpensive, and because it was so inexpensive, it feels quite casual to me. I tend to dislike overdressing, so because it was like more of a casual thing and not like a mohair knit that looks very chic and elegant, I got a lot more wear out of it than I thought. So yeah, I will start with my finished objects. These are all part of my winter knitting plan, so I'm very happy about that I already finished like 3 projects, 2 of which were work in progress when I first filmed. Or actually, I think only one was a work in progress, and the other two were like not too far from being cast on. So yeah, I will talk about the first finished object. This was a very long time in the making. So this is my gal sweater by, let me look it up, by Masha Ziablikova. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yeah, this is the gal sweater. It's supposed to, like, gal is like Hebrew, I think, for wave. That's what she said in her pattern. And yeah, because like the lace motif is like wavy here, and also the raglan shaping is kind of wavy. So I knit this in 2 strands of drops kid silk mohair in the color like dusty pink, old pink, color 4, old pink. And I'm quite happy how it turned out. There are a few hiccups, which I will talk about. But yeah, this was this year's Christmas sweater. I don't really do like Christmas sweaters or stuff like that, but it was almost finished, and yeah, I really wanted to wear it to Christmas just because it was like more festive than than other things in my wardrobe, I guess. So yeah, I wore it to Christmas and felt very cute. And I'm also very surprised because I think that I'm quite sensitive to mohair, but it was very bearable actually. The first day, because I was afraid, the first day I wore it out to meet friends, like on the 22nd, and I wore a long sleeve t-shirt underneath it just because it was very cold that day, and also I was scared it would be like very itchy or prickly. But obviously, because it was cold, I didn't have any issues with that. But on the 24th, on Christmas Eve, I wore it with just a tank top underneath. I'm most sensitive around like the chest area and my wrists, I think. And I actually didn't really have a problem. I wouldn't chill in it at home. I think that would bother me after some time. But like, if I'm distracted, I don't really mind this one. Especially because I heard that like drops mohair is like almost the worst mohair you can get in terms of like itchiness, but it was bearable. So I'm not. So I might try it again, actually, the drops kid silk mohair. But I think it might also have to do with the color, because with the brushed alpaca silk, I noticed a very big difference between the colors and the itchiness. So yeah. This was my first finished object. As I said, this is the gal sweater. And this is a bottom-up construction. This was my first time knitting something bottom-up. And it's knit in the round everything is knit in the round, so at least I didn't have to seam anything. But the bottom-up construction did give me a few issues. For one, you first start with knitting the sleeves separately, and then you knit the body. And I actually knit the very first sleeve in the summertime, like in July or August, and then I put the project aside until like October, basically, because I really didn't want to work on this in the summertime. So yeah, I think because of that, the gauge for the sleeves is quite different. Not like drastically, but I can slightly see a difference. After blocking it kind of even out. But yeah, this was the first problem, but this was like a me problem, right? Because at least I should have done the both sleeves and then the body on a different like later. But because I did like both sleeves at a totally different time, they are different. But one issue with that which I had with the bottom-up construction is, actually it was like two issues. Because I couldn't like figure out the sleeve length, I'm pretty sure I followed the instructions for the regular or like longer sleeve version, and it should like cut off right around here, so they should be like longer than normal sleeves. But for me, they are almost too short, probably because my row gauge is quite small for the sleeves. I also know that like I knit my sleeves on short circular needles. I know that I knit my sleeves tighter than the body in general because of that. And the other issue that I had, this design has a drawstring at the waist, and it's quite high up on the waist. And my bust is larger in proportion to my body, so a lot of times if the waist on something is just a little too high up, it doesn't actually hit my waist because like my bust takes a lot more space in the garment. It hits way above. So yeah. So what I did to combat that is she has instructions how you can elongate the part above the waist tunnel, like where you insert the I-cords. And she like marketed, I guess, it towards like very tall people. I think she suggests if you're like over 1 meter 80, you should do this. But I still did the modification for the tall person just because I wanted enough space above the waist to just accommodate for that, I guess. So I think this was the perfect decision. And the waist actually hits me around my waist, basically. I think it was very good that she included those instructions because she kind of makes you do half repeats. But it was quite a mental challenge for me to start this bottom up because I was very afraid to like mess it up, and I didn't want to rip everything back after I joined the raglan, because that's the first time you can really gauge where the waist will hit you, right? So yeah, I was quite nervous about that, but eventually it worked out, so I'm very happy about this. One thing I will mention about this pattern though, which I'm not a fan of, is I think it only has like 4 sizes, so it's not size inclusive at all. I had to knit the largest size, so if you're any larger than me, you can't follow this pattern without modifications or without doing your own calculations. So not the biggest fan of that. But I purchased the pattern. I think this is the second pattern I ever purchased. I purchased this like right when I started knitting because I just fell in love with the design at the time. And yeah, just at that time I didn't really look for something like size inclusivity, but now I'm not sure if I would have repurchased this because I'm so sorry about the light. I live in northern Germany. It is what it is. I can't do anything about it. So yeah, this was my like big finished object. I do have 2 accessories. One was a gift net, so I will just talk briefly about it. I will insert a picture, I think here. Yeah, this was just a beanie, like a dinosaur beanie for my nephew or my boyfriend's nephew. And yeah, I used Drops Lima for it. I think it was like, I don't remember the names of the colors. I think it was like rust and like the very grayish green. I don't remember the color name. But yeah, I basically just followed the... Yeah, so this was a gift net for Christmas. I followed the classic ribbed beanie, classic ribbed hat by Pearl Soho for like the stitch count. But when it came to the decreases, yeah, I wanted like a straight line to attach the triangles to. So yeah, this like kind of swirly decreases didn't work for me, so I just basically did random kind of center decreases. I don't remember where I got them from. I think I might have watched a video or my mom told me. I don't actually remember. So yeah, I just did like, I think 6 points of decreases. And yeah, and then I just freehanded those little triangles. Why is this word so hard for me? And then just seamed them on top. And I think it looks very cute. I actually really love how the colors look together, especially for a children's head. Yeah, so this was my second finished object, and I finished both before Christmas, so I was very good with my time management. For my last finished object, I have a pair of mittens. These are the flower knot mittens by Laura. I think it's Laura. Yeah, by Laura Moritz. These are the flower knot mittens by Laura Moritz. So these ones I knit in Wolle Rödel, Sport- und Strumpfwolle color fashion. So this is like, I think this is a worsted weight sock yarn, like color changing sock yarn. I thought this was a DK sock yarn. So when I bought this, I only knew that like sock yarn only came in like fingering weight or DK. I didn't know anything different, so I was sure this is not fingering, so it must be worse DK weight. But when I started to swatch I just started to knit those mittens. With like the recommended needle size is a 3.5 millimeter, I think. I quickly realized that they turned out way too big. So yeah, this is probably more of a worsted weight. And because of that, I switched to a 3 millimeter needle, so they would turn out smaller because I didn't want to mess with the like cable motif. And that's why I just went down a needle size. But because it's like a worsted weight, it was a little hard on my hands, especially like the cables were quite hot on my hands actually, I think obviously. But yeah, I think they turned out very cute. The only like thing that I don't like about these, or the only thing I was quite disappointed with, has to do with the yarn, not with the pattern, is like the color started so beautiful and then this very random stripe of like brown appeared on the most visible part of the mittens, and I was quite disappointed. And it actually happened on both mittens, so yeah, was quite disappointed with this. And also I messed with the increases or like the gusset shaping for the thumb, because I thought like I have a little, like this part is a little thicker, I think, than average on my hands, maybe. So I just wanted to make sure that I have like enough room for my thumb. But what ended up happening is that my thumb on the first mitten turned out way too huge, so it decreased very rapidly. So this kind of looks like a frog hand a little bit, the left mitten. But I don't mind it. It's still comfortable to wear, so I don't really care. This is mostly for warmth. And when I'm wearing it, it doesn't look that terrible. That's like the biggest thing. Also, my gauge is a little wonky here, but I also didn't block them yet, so I think it's alright. The second one turned out way cuter though. One thing I will say is that like the thumb is almost exactly at half the point of the mittens, so the mittens do tend to like twist inwards a little bit, which is not ideal, but I also don't really mind it. These are still very cute, and I love the like flower knot design. Yeah, and I also really like how she did like. I love that the what do you call it, the front or like the back of the hand is all in the stitch pattern, but to make it fit better, like the palm of the hand is stockinette, but on the wrist she includes half twisted rib on only like the inside of the hand. So I think this was a nice touch. Yeah, so these were all of my finished objects. I will start talking about my whips. I will start with the Haru Vest by Summer Knits. I'm knitting this vest for my boyfriend, and at first it was just like I wanted to knit him something, but right now I'm really trying to finish it for his birthday, which is like exactly in a week. But I don't have it with me right now because I did a mid-project block and it's drying downstairs, so I will insert a picture. I just wanted to gauge the length before continuing, because I'm not sure if I should add another like another few repeats of the stitch pattern or if I can start doing the ribbing. But yeah, I'm knitting the vest in Drops Lima again and the color Almond. It is like a DK heavy DK, maybe light worsted weight. I think it also depends actually on like the color, because I did a few swatches with different Drops Lima I had lying around before I purchased the almond colorway, and I think it turned out slightly different. But maybe also like maybe I got more comfortable with like doing cables with it. I don't know. Yeah, I actually sized up a needle size. I went from a 4 to a 4.5 millimeter needle because I realized my cables were very tight with the 4 millimeter needles, and since this is an all over cabled vest and you cable in every second row basically, yeah, I didn't want this vest to be like very stiff. So yeah, I sized up a needle size, and I'm kind of not sure about my gauge actually. That's also a reason why I'm doing a mid project block, because I finished like the whole yoke and everything fits fine, except like I didn't think of the fact that men have broader shoulders, so I knit him a size 2, which is a little narrow on his shoulders, but I think it's still fine. But if I were to knit this again, he didn't want a ton of positive ease. So if I would knit this again for a man, I would do a size up for like the shoulders, and then when it comes to like joining in the round, I would just yeah, look at the stitches for the size that I'm actually wanting to have the positive ease of. That's just something I would keep in mind for future projects I would do for him. But yeah, the yoke turned out fine with like the length and everything. But what I'm kind of not understanding actually is, so the pattern calls for like 10 repeats of the chart after you joined in the round, or joined under the arms, and I'm like on six. I have already done like 16 repeats, and it still seems a little short even on me. It's not, I know like for a man you have to knit it longer, but even for me it's like barely there where I would need it before starting the ribbing. So yeah, that's mostly the reason why I'm doing this mid-project blog, because I really don't want to bind off, do a really neat Italian bind off, and then have to rip this back, because this is something I already had to deal with. Yeah, but other than that, I think it's turning out very nice. I really like how it's looking. And I'm very hopeful I can finish it until his birthday. So I only have to like finish the body. I don't know how many repeats, and then do the ribbing and the double-ditted button band and like the edges for the armholes. Yeah. So this is the Haru West by Summer Knits. And speaking of ripping back Italian bind off, my next work in progress was actually almost finished already, but as I said, I had to rip back. I'm knitting myself a vest. I will show it to you as best as I can. So I'm knitting myself a vest, and this is my very first self-drafted vest. And yeah, I bound off. This is a sport weight yarn, and I bound off like over 440 stitches very neatly at that. And then I realized I want to add another like 3 centimeters to the body. So yeah, this, I think I've bound off in like October or something as well, or maybe even in September. So I only got to it now. I only got up the courage now to rip back my Italian bind off. So yesterday evening, I ripped back the whole, I cut off the Italian bind off and ripped back the whole ribbing. And so now I'm adding the length I wanted, and will bind it off again, and then I only will have to do the button band as well. So this should be finished soonish as well. I will insert a picture of how it looked like before I ripped it back. So yeah, I just want it to be a little longer. I want this to be more of a like oversized loose fit, but actually I really want to turn this into a pattern, just because when I was looking for something like this, I couldn't find a pattern. That's why I self-drafted it. So I do have a few issues. Mainly, I cast on too many stitches for the back in the beginning. I think I should do more in like I did in European shoulder. So I think I have to cast on fewer stitches but do more increases. But other than that, I'm quite happy. The armholes are a tiny bit deep, but I do really like the shape of them. So I want to knit a second sample of this. I don't know when I will get to it, but I want to do a different version. I want it to be like closed up and a little more cropped. So this will be more oversized and with a button front, and the other one will just be a slip over with a cropped fit and a little bit of a longer ribbing. So, and I really hope I can turn this into a pattern. But since I don't get many views, and I don't have many followers on Instagram as well, I don't know how to go about test knitting this, but this is a problem for future me. So yeah, these were my 2 main works in progress. I do have 2 smaller ones. Actually, one isn't as small, just the progress is small. I'm knitting myself a sweater. This will also be self-drafted. I really wanted a like very basic oversized sweater, and I considered buying a pattern for this, but I also really want to learn how to self-draft patterns better. So I thought like a very basic oversized pullover would be a great start to do that. But I'm already having difficulties, or it's not working out, so I will have to rip this back and start over. I took measurements of like, I guess my favorite pullover that I own right now. The whole reason I'm knitting this is because I don't have pullovers like this that I like to wear. So I took measurements of a hoodie that I have, which is like more or less the best fitting one I own. And yeah, I also wanted to do European shoulder here. But I took all the measurements of the hoodie, and like between the part where the slope for the shoulders is, so between the neckline and where the shoulder starts or the armhole starts, this is like a height of like 4 centimeters, and I'm already like halfway through the increases, and I already have 4 centimeters in length. So I will, and I also did increases on both the right and the wrong side, so I will have to think about how I can fix this basically. Either I will have to figure out short rows, which I'm tending towards trying that, or I will have to do like 2 increases per row, but I don't know, like 2 on both sides, actually 4 increased stitches per row. But I'm not the biggest fan of the ones I found. So yeah, maybe I will just try to figure out the short rows. But I'm actually very excited to knit this up. Just because I want to like give this project my whole attention, or most of my whole attention. I just put it on the back burner until I finish the vest for my boyfriend. So yeah, that's the only reason why I didn't work on this. Oh, and this was my New Year's cast on. Actually, this was cast on the 1st of December, and I knit an evening on this, and then I decided I will frog this. So it's laying around for a week already. And my last work in progress is in this very cute Mononoke Hime, or Princess Mononoke bag that I bought at the Ghibli Park in Japan. We went there in November, so... And this is like the perfect size for my to-go project. And this is my to-go project. I like to have a small project on the go. Most of the time I have like small accessories. So this time around, I'm knitting mittens again. So I had a lot of fun actually knitting my flower knot ones. And I think they are very more fun than knitting socks. I don't know why I don't enjoy knitting socks as much. But these are... I forgot the name. It's like gusset something. Arched Gusset Mittens by Pearl Soho as well. I just looked for a pattern for worsted weight mittens again. I try to do like my own, but sometimes I just don't want to have so much trial and error, especially for like small accessories. I wanted to just follow something and it will fit. So yeah, these are... Oh, I'm so sorry. The pink sweater is knit in Mayflower New Sky, in the color 84. I think this is a discontinued color, or it's getting discontinued, because I got like most of my skeins for 0.5% off of the Mayflower website, so I'm pretty sure this is getting discontinued or is already discontinued, at least this color. I'm not sure if it's the yarn or just the colors, but yes, I was on the hunt for this kind of pink and I got it. So yeah, sorry, itchy nose. So yeah, back to my mittens. These mittens are knit with like so I'm knitting these mittens with yarn that is left over from the cardigan I knit my mom for her birthday. So this is Drops Lima in the dark green color. I think it's like dark ivy or something. And the Isia mohair in the color 56. I'm pretty sure it's 56, but nevertheless, it's also like the dark forest green color. You can see actually in the skeins that the colors are quite different. This is way more bluish green compared to this, but I think knit up together, it's like a very nice multi-dimensional green, I guess. So I think it's like the best of both worlds. Yeah, I'm actually knitting these for my grandma who lives in Siberia, so it's very cold there. And they do need a lot, they do wear their mittens a lot. So yeah, because I had leftovers from my mom's cardigan, I decided to just use this. The only thing, I'm not sure if I will have enough of the Lima to finish both mittens, but I will see how much I will need. Either way, I will just finish the thumbs with a different yarn, or will purchase one more ball. It's like €3 or something, so it's not a big deal. And I'm positive I have enough mohair to finish these. But yeah, I'm just doing basic mittens. The only thing, I'm not sure if this part is maybe a little too short because it's like Siberia. You really don't want any naked skin showing when in winter. So yeah, I'm a little cautious of this, but I will just finish both of the mittens, and if I still have the feeling that they are too short, I already decided that I will just pick up stitches and do like ribbing or something in the different direction. I don't think this will look too bad. Especially on mittens, these are primarily for warmth, not for the style. So I don't think my grandma would mind. I think she would prefer longer, warmer mittens over like prettier mittens. So yeah, I'm very much liking how this yarn is working up. I'm also knitting this on 3.5. Oh yeah, I'm knitting these on 3.5 millimeter needles. The pattern calls for 3.75, which I don't have, so I just figured a little like tighter knit mittens would be warmer, so this is a positive. And I just sized up on the pattern. Instead of knitting the adult medium, I'm doing like the stitch count for the adult large and basically follow the adult large pattern except for the length. So the length I'm just measuring with my hand basically. And yeah, so this is my last work in progress. I totally forgot about two finished objects. I will briefly talk about those because I don't have them with me. While I was visiting my boyfriend's family over we went there from the 20th until the 25th of December, and then we came back here. While we were visiting his family, his mom gave me yarn it was like a hand-me-down, and since she doesn't knit, she just gave it to me. And I think I got 5 or 6 balls, and it was like 100% polyester yarn, I think. So I really didn't want to. I knew I wouldn't want to knit with this once I'm home with all the nice yarn that I have at home. So I really tried to crank out as much as I could, because I only took like one whip with me, which were a pair of socks, which while I was there, I realized they are turning out too small. So I just frogged those, and I really didn't have the motivation to restart it. So I just figured I will try to use up the yarn as much as possible while I'm there. And yeah, I only had like my DK weight socks with me, so I only had 3mm needles, but she also got knitting needles as a hand-me-down, so she also gave them to me. And the biggest size that was included was a 5mm needles, and the yarn calls for more of a like 9 to 10mm needle, so it was very tight. So I was quite limited on what I could knit with those, but at the same time it was yeah. So I was thinking about just knitting like something like a Sophie scarf or shawl, depending on how much yarn I have, but because it was so tight, the increases were very tight and very painful. Not painful, but like very not fun to do. So while I was there, I finished a pair of like basic slippers. I don't have a picture of those, but I will insert a picture of slippers I did with like basically the same technique. So I started just with casting on a like I think maybe like 10 stitches or 15 stitches, and knit a rectangle, basically like a swatch. And then I picked up the sides, like the stitches on the sides, and just continued knitting for the time until I like basically the slippers were long enough to be so the hole for where you put your foot in is big enough. I don't know how to describe it right now. And once I reached there, I just joined in the round and also cast on like 3 stitches for like so it would be easier to I cast it on like 3 stitches while joining in the round to make it easier to slip on and off. And the only difference that I did for like the gray pair that I did last year and this pair is, for the gray pair I continued doing like garter stitch, so I switched between knit and purl rounds while I was knitting in the round. But this time I really didn't want any fuss with it, so I only did knit rounds. So the heel of the slipper is garter stitch, and like the front of the slipper is stockinette once I joined in a round. And they turned out a little sharp because I think I just did like a regular decrease, so I just did decreases every second round without like doing more rapid decreases at the toe. But it was just to get the yarn out of stash, and just to have something to knit on, so I really didn't fuss with it. And I finished one of them in a day, so 2 days until I finished both. And the other finished object that I have, I will try to put a picture up, but I'm not sure if I will be able to find it. So I still had quite a few skeins left after finishing both slippers, and I really wanted to get as much out of stash as possible. So on our way back home, we have like a 4-hour commute, more or less, maybe 4.5 hours. on the way back home, I knit the Christmas ornament that was like quite viral around Christmas time. I don't remember what it's called or the designer's name, but I will put it up on the screen. And yeah, so while we were in the train, I just knit this Christmas ornament and I stuffed it with the other leftover yarn, so it's just filled with yarn. I thought this would be like the perfect way to bring home as little yarn as possible and yeah, have a cute Christmas ornament. Because it was very off gauge, I knitted on 5mm needles and on like Aran, if not like bulky weight yarn. This ornament turned out like this big, so it's more of a like single decoration and not an ornament. But when we returned home, I immediately gifted it to my mom, and actually I hung it up at the Christmas table where we were eating it, and it looks quite cute because the yarn is like golden beigey color, so it was like very fitting, I guess. And I do have quite a bit of the yarn left over still, so I would consider knitting another of those ornaments for like myself or for our flat. And I think it turned out cute, and polyester has like the benefit of not being scared of moths, so I can just put that away with the Christmas decoration. And yeah, it wasn't like the worst polyester yarn. It didn't hurt my hands or anything, so I'm quite happy about this. So this is me a few days later. I was quite rambly in the acquisition part last time, so I thought I would just refilm it. I'm also sorry for the echo right now because my boyfriend is currently in a work meeting upstairs. So yeah, I'm just downstairs here, and this room is way big. So yeah, but I will just jump straight into acquisitions. I forgot a few also last time, that's why I'm refilming this. So yeah, I will start with my first acquisition. So this is the, I think, LECCE yarn by Puppy Yarns. I bought this while we were in Japan in November. While we were there, Katharina Kunz came out with the anime scarf, which is like an all-over double knitting colorwork scarf. Is it called jacquard? Yeah, but like it's like colorwork, but with just double knitting. So it's the contrast color and the main color kind of switch on the left side and the right side. And yeah, the anime scarf is just has a lot of Ghibli characters all over it, and I'm a die-hard fan of Ghibli, so I really wanted to knit this. I knew I wanted to knit this, and I thought, what better yarn to use for like a pattern with like Japanese animation characters while I'm in Japan. It comes out while I'm in Japan, so I really wanted to buy at least a contrast color in Japan. So yeah, I decided on this one. I decided on this one. The pattern calls for fingering weight yarn, and technically, like with the meterage, it's spot on. This is, I think, 160 meters on like 40-gram balls, and the pattern calls for 200 meters on a 50-gram ball, I think. So if my math is correct, it should be spot on, but it does look thicker than, like generally thicker than fingering weight yarn, but it is also very fluffy, so I think I can work a fingering gauge with this. I will have to see. So yeah, this is the color 414, and yeah, I just have to pick out like color to go with this. I really want to kind of pick a color from in here, but at the same time I'm a little worried that it might wash out the, like, because there are a few like really small motifs. I'm cautious that I have enough contrast with every single color in here, but I want it to be more on the like bright side. I don't want to use like a neutral with it. I want to use a colorful color with it. So yeah, I bought I think 5 balls of this. My bangs are due for a cut, but anyways, this is my second acquisition. This is a hand-dyed sock set, or yeah, it's like scrap as a sock set, because at the same shop my boyfriend actually bought my mom a skein for Christmas, which was just a singular without like the contrast color, and it was like more or less the same base, but it didn't say sock set, it just said like very soft wool or something. But yeah, this one says it's a sock set. So yeah, I will try to keep it short. While we were visiting his family in like the center of Germany, his family lives in a quite a small town, and they have like a few like boutiques and stuff. And while we were meeting up with friends while we were there, they had like an art exhibition in a store, and when we went there, it was an art exhibition with like the art was done all by kids, so it was very cute. And then they put the name of the artist, I guess, and next to it, and we discovered that two of his his nephew and his niece participated in it. So it was very nice to discover that. And we asked them about it later on, and yeah, it was very cute. But anyways, this was like a shop, and we talked to the shop owner, or one of the shop owners, I guess, and she told us that there are like 9 artists who all do like handcrafts, different handcrafty things, and they sell them there. So they had like needle felting, like woodwork. There were hand knit socks and mittens, and hand dyed yarn. I'm not sure if the one who knits the mittens and the one who dyes the yarn is the same person, but yeah, so this is a very nice shop, and I got myself the sock set. So yeah, I quite like the colors, very earthy. Not particularly my colors that I tend to wear, but I don't know, when I saw this I immediately thought of my boyfriend, so probably he will get at least a set out of this. If I can get 2 socks out of this would be perfect. So yeah, very, very nice. And yeah, then Christmas came, and obviously I got something knitting related for Christmas. Actually, this year we didn't do a lot of gift exchanges, so me and my boyfriend exchanged gifts, but yeah, I got a different crafty thing. I got like a little Ghibli miniature paper kit. It's so detailed and so much fun, but it's very like fine work, so I'm having a lot of fun with that. But anyways, what I got knitting related for Christmas is this book. This is the Rose Knitwear book. I think everyone knows this. I really wanted this because of the upstream sweater. It's like the main pattern I wanted out of this book, but now that I received it, there are so many nice patterns, especially like I also love this cabled jacket, and like this bag. I have yarn like this lying around, don't know what to do with it, so this is like a perfect project, I think. And Yeah, the only reason I haven't cast on anything from this yet is I don't have sweater quantities of um yeah, of yarn lying around except two, but those already have like concrete plans. And for the like, I really love like the scarf or the beanie which is included in here, but I don't have enough of like similar weight yarns to do any of the patterns in here yet. So I don't have enough scraps, I guess, to do a scrappy project, but I also don't have like large enough quantities of yarn lying around. I could do one, but I'm not sure if I will need the yarn for another project. So first I will decide if I need the yarn for the other project, or I might knit myself something out of here. Very excited. And the last thing I have for my acquisition. So this year my friend and I did a small gift exchange for Christmas. I don't really exchange a lot of gifts with friends for Christmas, but this is like my closest friend, and she moved out of Hamburg some time ago, and we don't get to see each other too often now. So yeah, we met up between Christmas and New Year's Eve, and she gifted me this little skein of Ecopuno Chunky by Lana Grossa. Oh, this is the color 120. So this just feels so soft, and when she told me like how much thought she put into it, because she wasn't, I think, just I randomly rambled that I might be like sensitive to mohair or something, and she told me like uh, I wasn't sure what yarn you were sensitive to. I thought it was alpaca, so I tried not um, to buy a skein with too much alpaca in it. This one does have alpaca in it, but just like 19%. So yeah, she really tried to look even for the content, even though she doesn't knit or does any fiber related art. So yeah, she doesn't do any like knitting or fiber related crafts, but she does paint. So check out her Instagram. She does really beautiful like watercolor landscapes and stuff. And yeah, so I thought it was so thoughtful that she thought about everything, like especially the content and everything. And she just knows which colors I love. So yeah, I'm not quite sure what I will knit with this yet, but I do have a pink sweater in the making with like similar wool. It's the Mayflower New Sky in the pinkish color. So if I have like anything left from this, I think I will combine these two together, because like pink and green is like my all-time favorite color combination. And yeah, I will figure something out, but this is so soft. I really want to knit something with this. So yes, this was everything for my acquisitions. I'm trying not to buy any more yarn, so the only two exceptions were for like the kind of souvenir scarf from Japan. I don't get to go to Japan all that often, so I thought this was reasonable. And also like for the first hand-dyed skein, I think it's okay, an okay exception. But other than that, I'm not buying any yarn until I at least got like my main quantities out of stash. I'm realizing now I started to speak a lot quieter due to the echo, so sorry about that. But anyways, I hope you really enjoyed the video. Sorry for the like jarring cut in between, but yeah, I hope I will see you again in the next episode. I'm thinking about still doing a what I knit in 2024 video. I'm not quite sure, because I did quite a bit of gift knitting, and I don't want like half of the episode to only be pictures without any like physical object to be able to show. But I will see. I will like put everything together there that I can get the hands on, and see if it's like reasonable to make an episode. or otherwise, I will just see you in my next podcast episode. So, yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. And see you then. Bye bye.